Welcome to my podcast, Actual Leigh. This is the continuation of last week's conversation. Let's dive right back in.
Damn. I mean, how long? I've been friends with this guy since 1976.
Yeah.
You were like a year old.
I was born in December of 75, so maybe not.
Yeah. And here we were in Cub Scouts together and we're still
Yeah.
friends, you know. So I do have some long-term friends like that. I've got some friends that I've been, a lot of friends since the late 90s. I don't hang out with them all the time, but I still talk to them fairly regularly through social media. And that's, I think, part of what I like about social media is keeping in contact with my old friends and my far away friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that's,
most of my longtime friends are people I met online a long time ago. So
right,
because I have friends online. I mean, they're not people I would invite to hang out, but I'm still connected with them online. And like there's one person I've known since I was like 15 from the BBS community. So that's like a local online, right?
yeah,
And we send each other videos on TikTok and stuff like that. And we've just always kind of been in each other's circles because of the online connection. But like, I wouldn't be like, hey, let's hang out or anything. I mean, I would
right.
if it came up, but it's just not, we're not friends like that. Um, and it's kind of interesting that I have friends that I met on LiveJournal back in the day. Some of them I've even met in person. Like I went to Maryland and met one of them in
Live journal.
person. And like, and we don't talk directly in DM at all, but we do interact. Like she'll comment on some of my shorts on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's, there it's interesting because it is a way to keep it's almost like a interactive black book type or address book or whatever, from back in the
Right,
day.
right.
Rolodex, there's the word.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's still not it's not social, but it's those are most of my friends. I haven't had very many like in-person interactive friendships that have lasted more than a few months because people they it's just like consistently move away. That's just I'm still connected with them online, but they just keep
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
away. Like,
yeah.
and or just they just like a lot of times I mentioned the catalyst for change things. I will like set a fire on somebody and then they get what they need and then they move on to the next stage of their life kind of thing. So I've watched a lot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And
Um,
and, and I've noticed a lot with both male and female friends that they'll get into a relationship and it's not that their, partner or spouse doesn't like me. It's just they're much more busy with their person.
yeah.
And I get that,
Yep.
I'm not offended by that, but you know, I've had friends go into that. I don't hear from them as much anymore. And I've had friends come back from that when the
Yeah.
relationship ends. All of a sudden they're in my life again. And I have no problem with that because, I've been in relationships and I know that you just don't see the other people as much when you're in a relationship because it just kind of it takes up time to be in a relationship.
Yeah. I had a friend who like they both had very busy family lives and so when they got together, they no longer had weekends because they were all doing always doing stuff for their families or whatever.
Right.
And so I just stopped seeing her and I'll message her sometimes, but she's just not really I feel like we changed enough that we just don't
Yeah.
connect the same way and that's fine. We both had like a mutual friend and that mutual friend resents her for the change, but I was just like, people change. It's just she doesn't owe me
Things
anything.
happen. Things happen, and she may not have changed that much. She's just busy, when you're in a relationship, you kind of prioritize the person you're in the relationship with over like, friends from work, say.
Yeah. I
It
guess I
just kind of
see
happens.
I see the relationship as a change because it's a state. It's like a new
Yeah,
state, right?
yeah,
So but yeah, it's yeah. I was gonna say I just like had this random smart ass comment. I have the same thing happen on my OnlyFans. I can tell when certain people are dating because their profiles go away. And I can tell when it
They
ends because they
disappear
come back.
because yeah, yeah, because they found a Jessica and she's policing their social media.
Right?
You can't be friends with that hot Leigh girl.
Yeah.
You know, she might not be like really slutty, but she's got an OnlyFans and she's posting, you know, artsy kind of stuff, but it's still like making you horny.
Yeah, I'm like, bitch, just take advantage of it. Shit.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was talking about there, you know, like you want me to unfollow these people and like some of them it was no big deal, you know. If like an OnlyFans girl followed me and I just followed her back, I don't know her.
Hmm.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But, you know, someone I've worked with, you know, like put in my comic strips and like worked with for years,
Yeah.
who happens to have an OnlyFans, like, no, I'm not
Right.
I'm not unfriending that person.
Right. Yeah, I don't get the,
Especially when you practically have an OnlyFans.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll never, I don't know. I don't get that. I get like being curious about who other people follow and kind of getting to know some of their, stuff, their interests or whatever through that. But like, honestly, people follow so many people and so many accounts
Yeah.
now that you can't even get it because so much of it is just like, oh, I liked this one video, I'm gonna follow. Oh, you don't even get a good sense of what people like anymore unless they're really picky
Well,
like me.
and
Um,
you know, I I'm a photographer. I have done that throughout my life. And just because I like a girl's photo doesn't necessarily mean that I want to sleep with her.
right,
I might like the photo as a photo.
right,
And as a photographer, I feel like I should be able to like a photo for its composition, lighting, color, whatever,
exactly. Not everything is
and even the
inherently,
subject. Maybe the girl is attractive, you know. That doesn't mean that
yeah,
I'm gonna jump in her DMs and try to like get her in bed.
right. And it's like if you have a healthy connection with somebody, that stuff's not going to take away from the relationship, you
Yeah,
know?
and it shouldn't yeah. Um Anybody who's too concerned with me liking someone's photo, like your photo, um, yeah, I can't be with someone who's gonna freak out that I liked your photo, Leigh.
Yeah.
I
I
get,
I until re more the last few years I've always had mostly guy friends and so that's just like the last time I mean my last relationship was a couple years ago but I went almost 20 years without dating at all. So like social media and smartphones came around and I was not dating through a lot of that. So there's like a whole aspect of like relationship issues that I just haven't really dealt with. But before
right.
that, just the fact that I had a lot of guy friends, that was like, I never asked anybody, hey, do you have a problem with me having guy friends? I would just talk about the people in my life and watch their body language
Yeah.
and then be like, yeah, no,
Yeah. And
because,
I have a lot of female friends in the same regard. It's like my guy friends, you know, they're mostly old man friends that like they've been even longer than me without going on a date, you know. Some of them like 15 to 20 years since they've even been on a date.
hmm
And but a lot, you know, guy friends, you know, we talk about movies, we talk about music, we talk about sports. We don't talk about meaningful things, emotions, stuff like that. That only happens with my female friends.
Yeah, but that's because little boys are broken. We systematically just deny little boys the opportunity to develop that part of their humanity. And then so they then y'all just end up super isolated and not able to have intimate conversations with your friends.
But I do with my female friends.
Yeah. But that's one of the issues in the when dealing with men, especially like the older generations, is that because they didn't learn how to have these more meaningful conversations with other men and just with friends and like women as friends, a lot of them try to get that intimacy just from women, right? And it's all like convoluted and messed up together where they can't separate it out. So it's always about getting with that woman. And it's like it's a hot mess. It's like, no, dude,
Yeah,
you need to and then a lot of those men are so isolated from other men that they think that they're super unique in the things that they're insecure about. So they'll be like, yeah, I'm really awkward or I'm really weird. And then when you talk to them, they're like a cookie cutter version of like all the other guys that said the exact same thing. And I'm
yep.
like, you guys need to talk to each other. You really need to talk to each other. Like, you need to make some friends and talk about your feelings and things. Just talk. Like, be people, be human
Sadly,
beings.
and
Like,
I tried this with my old man friends, and sadly, I think a lot of them, even though I'm failing at online dating, I honestly think a couple of my old man friends look up to me because I'm out there, or I was out there trying,
mm-hmm.
and they're afraid to even do that,
Yeah.
or they got nothing to say, or you know,
Yeah.
I have one friend who was like, he was like a Calvin Klein model when he was younger, so he could go to the bar and pick up women, and like, but he got old and he got fat, and he has no personality, no sense of humor. He's like, it's kind of sad, you know.
Yeah.
The looks have faded, and he didn't develop himself in a way that he can. Because like one of the main things you got to do, like dating, is like make a woman laugh.
Right.
And if you
Yeah.
can't do that,
You better laugh at her jokes.
then yeah, you better still look like a Calvin Klein underwear model.
I, yeah, I just the people who just forgot to live and forgot to be them, figure out who they are, you know. I mean, I live with somebody that never developed himself as a person. He thought about it. He would daydream about drawing or writing a book, but he would never actually do the things. And so he
Yeah,
doesn't have that, you know, it's like he's missing that. And it's, I hadn't really dealt with it in a really like complex, like conversational, trying to get to know somebody who doesn't know themselves kind of way. I was like, so it was a little bit alien. I kept bumping my head and being like, what is happening? And then I just realized that he just had never really developed. And I was like, hey, you need to do the things. You need to start drawing. You need to do these things. Like, you know, it's like I'm pushing him to get out and do
yeah.
stuff. Go
Stop
hang out with
talking
your,
about it and
yeah,
do it.
go hang out with your coworkers, have life experiences and do stuff. And, you know, and yeah, it's been interesting. It's been kind of eye-opening to see that because like I just never there are a lot of things I denied myself over the years because of imposter syndrome or because I thought like if I lost 10 pounds, then I could do that thing. But I still, even with all those limitations, I was still always doing stuff, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So
You just did it anyway.
yeah, there were things I didn't like. I never took dance classes I want to because I thought I was too fat, that kind of thing. But like, and I wish I had because now I can't. But you know,
Yeah.
but I still, you know, I still rode motorcycles and I still learned how to work on my
Yeah.
vehicles and
Yeah.
still did other stuff,
You
you
did
know.
your thing. And I kind of want to touch on imposter syndrome. You brought it
Mm,
up.
yeah.
Um, that is such a foreign concept to me. Um, I asked my mom one time, when did I when did I stop trying to be like other kids and like, really kind of, because I've always been kind of a maverick, when did that start? And she told me from the time they brought me home.
Yeah.
Like it happened early on. So I have never once felt like an imposter. And so I hear people talking about imposter syndrome, and it seems so foreign to me that I have a little bit of a hard time understanding it.
Yeah.
Um, I get the concept, I've read about it, um, and I guess quite a few creative people have it. Um, but yeah, I've always been absolutely certain about whatever I'm doing. And so, yeah, that one's a little bit foreign to me.
You're lucky. I never had like the identity thing. I never tried to be like other people. I remember like elementary school, I just did stuff and nobody liked me and I couldn't really figure it out. And it didn't ever dawn on me that I should try to be like them because I didn't want to be like them because they didn't like me. So
Right.
why would I want to be like them?
Yeah.
Like I actually saw it as their problem. Even though it felt bad to be rejected, I was like, why would they have a problem with this? Farts are funny. I just didn't get
Yeah.
it. So, but junior high, I started to see the grouping of styles and kids that were into one thing or kids that were into other thing. And I didn't identify with any of it. I didn't understand
Right.
how they could be so absolute. I'm a rocker. Oh, I'm a rapper. I'm whatever. I was like, I just like shit and I don't fucking care and I don't want to wear certain type of clothes and I don't, I just never got it. So I just did whatever and they didn't like me. But I did have a popular girl come up to me. We were walking home and she was on the other side of the street and these kids were pretty mean to me, but like she was like, "Hey, hey," and I was like, "Oh, like what dumb thing is she gonna say now?" And she actually told me that she envied the fact that I could just be myself, that I wore whatever I wanted, and I didn't seem to like. And I was like, "Well, you could do that too." And she's like, "No, I can't." And and I didn't get it till later, but she couldn't do that because she didn't want to be treated like I was, right?
Yeah. She was afraid.
Yeah, but I've never received the acceptance. I never had friends like that. I wasn't particularly well treated at home. I was neglected a lot. So to me, all of that like just was normal. But where the imposter syndrome comes in for me is that because of the way I grew up and the way that I felt so different, and then growing up very poor, I never saw pathways to doing things. And some of that's also an ADHD thing as well, right? Where like I would
Uh-huh.
get ideas and then not know how to get there. And
Right.
because I couldn't get to things and I had a hard time finishing things as a result, I kind of had this sense of like just being a failure and that I can't do stuff. And I remember one of my first boyfriends, he was like just getting ready to leave for college and he had a really supportive family and lots of healthy things that I've never been exposed to. And I was like, oh, I can't go to college. I can't do these things. And all I saw were closed doors. And he's like, but you're so smart and blah, blah, blah. You can do anything you want. And I was like, that's not how the world works when you're me. Like, that's not, like, and some of that's true because, like, the socioeconomic stuff just creates extra things, right? That make
Yes,
it
it's true.
harder. And
It's true.
then I couldn't get financial assistance, like, because I tested out of high school in 10th grade and I couldn't get financial assistance because my mom made too much. But she also wouldn't help me to school because she said she wasn't, I don't, whatever. And so I was working when I was 16 and trying to pay for school at, the junior college
Yeah.
but I had all the neurodivergent stuff that I didn't know about. And so I was trying to figure out how to navigate at the height of puberty, going to like junior college and working without knowing that I had these neurodivergent things where I had a hard time
Yeah.
engaging with other people and other people seemed really dumb and it wasn't like I thought I was so smart. I just every time I talked to people, they didn't understand me. And I was like, but what I'm saying makes sense. Where's the disconnect, right?
Right.
It was so, I was like, so I had this, I was obsessed with the idea that I was an alien starting when I was like 6 or so, like Starman and like all those. I love those movies. Because I was like, they're gonna come and find me, be like, you're not supposed to be here. But the imposter syndrome came in through that disbelief that I could do stuff. And so
Okay.
as I've started to do stuff, once I had access to ADHD meds, I started to do things that I'd always wanted to do, but had never been able to figure out how to get there. And so it 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 doesn't feel like, I don't know, like when I first started posting stuff online, I would get anxious and I couldn't sleep because of it, because I was
Oh, wow.
like, because I felt like I was doing something wrong and I felt like it wasn't good or whatever. And honestly, the fact that I get so much silence is almost a relief because that feels familiar to me, Like there's a part of me that if something did
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
well, I think it would be really hard on me. Um, but the other area where I experienced imposter syndrome was around how I express myself, um, like gender wise or whatever. So I never conformed to femininity stuff. When I was 10, I was like, I'm not getting married, I'm not having kids, and I'm not doing all that makeup high heel bullshit. Fuck that, right? And and um and I succeeded on the last part. The clown stuff is the only makeup I've really ever worn, but I tried when I was in a relationship to like wear dresses and dress nice, more feminine or sexy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I couldn't. I would go out and it felt like I was wearing a costume and I felt like
Yep. Yep.
everybody knew that I was an imposter and I would have panic attacks and because it wasn't me, I didn't feel good. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
me. That's not how I feel attractive. Like I feel most attractive in like an overall with a bra and my head shaved, right? Like and that's
Right.
how and but my partners never accepted that. And they'd
No,
always be like, you're not
that makes
sexual
sense.
enough. You're not this, you're not I initiated sex more than they did, and they would complain about it and then tell me I wasn't sexual enough. And I couldn't figure out the problem until I started clowning and realized because when I clown, I can do more femme stuff and be more sexy. That was the first time I got called hot was when I posted a clown picture. My
Really?
entire life I've never been called sexy or hot or any of that. I get um like you're an acquired taste or like unique or whatever, but I don't get the more traditional compliments that women get when men find them sexually attractive. Um, and the clowning gave me this perspective around that stuff that I was like, oh, okay. So part of what was missing for them was that they had this idea of how women are supposed to be sexual and how they're supposed to look
Right.
to be a woman. And instead of just accepting me for me and my sexuality the way that it was, they were like having issues feeling like I wasn't doing what they had expected. And I didn't have the words for it until later, right? But
Right.
it,
Right.
but I also refused to conform because I'm like, I can't be anyone but myself.
Right.
And every time I tried to, I get the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. And I get that from a dating perspective, certainly because, I if I tried to be anything else than who I am, I'm faking it.
Hmm.
It wouldn't be I would be an imposter. I would be faking my personality,
Yep.
to be a dickhead or an asshole, like a lot of women seem to like.
That's
And that's a whole nother story.
I've
I know
always
why
been
that
like
happens.
I like nice people, period.
Yeah.
And I don't get it.
Trying to find a woman like you, though,
Yeah, but I
out
like
in the dating world, when they're like West Jordan soccer moms, they're used to being
mistreated.
put down, they're used to being mistreated,
Yeah.
and they want that guy that's just like their friend's husband, who's kind of a dickhead, kind of a jerk. mistreats them,
Yeah.
they want the same guy. They
Yeah, but it's because of that the like people get sort of hardwired for
yeah,
what
it's
what they're used to.
yeah, like
And
social norms. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
got
you
no
just
use
get
for them.
yeah, I worked very hard to unlearn as much of the bullshit as I could when I was younger. I still have plenty of baggage, but I was like, I don't want to be like these
Right,
people, you know?
right.
And just
So I think part of I think again, I'm lucky to have the upbringing I have. And sometimes I honestly think I have kind of like, I don't know, maybe like survivor's guilt that my childhood was like an episode of Leave It to Beaver, and like everyone else like was abused, and like, their parents were alcoholics and like fucked them up, and like I had none of that.
yeah.
I always had support, through school. I was always told, how talented I am, at drawing and whatnot.
Hmm.
No, now nobody told me that talent doesn't pay the bills, but I always had this support that
Hmm.
a lot of people are missing. And I think that's probably the reason why I don't feel that, is because I had support from an early age.
Yeah, you didn't have
I
people
was
telling
lucky.
you that you
I
don't
was
deserve
very lucky.
things. Yeah. And it's I mean, yeah, and there you're not alone, but you're definitely like the
Sometimes I
voice you
feel
don't
like I'm the only
yeah.
one.
Well, I literally think the people that had good upbringings don't talk about it.
Yeah, and they might take for granted. I don't. I know that people had shitty upbringings, like horrifying upbringings. A lot of people that I know,
Hmm.
and I feel very fortunate, and like almost like, man, how did I escape this? Like everyone I know was molested, or everyone I know was like, now I was whipped with a belt, but that was a commonplace in the 70s. That was a commonplace punishment.
Yeah.
That wasn't considered child abuse.
Yeah.
And I can
Well, and
honestly say as an adult that every time I got whipped with a belt, that I deserved it. You know,
mhm.
I did something that brought that on.
Yeah. Well, and I think like because I got hit with a belt, but it traumatized me. And it wasn't uncommon at that time, but how how you experienced it, if it didn't traumatize you, it didn't traumatize you. And it doesn't mean that what your parents did was right, but again, however it was, your parents, the structure around their parenting and how they took care of you, you were able to have an experience that's traumatizing for a lot of people, and it wasn't for you, right?
Right. And
And
everybody's different that way. I
yeah,
definitely know that.
yeah. But my
Everybody
guess is,
mourns differently.
yeah, exactly.
Similar.
But my guess is people who are better loved can handle things better. You know, they're not as damaged because they're not having the damage layered on through
Yeah,
neglect and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, my dad always felt, I could tell that my dad always felt worse than I did when he had to punish me.
Yeah. I uh I sometimes would see that and I would milk it to punish them
Yeah.
for punishing me because I resented being in trouble because I was always in trouble for things I didn't do. They always thought I was lying when I wasn't, and then they would believe me when I lied, and it was like a whole I have this thing, my
Ah,
integrity is really important to me now because of that. Like if someone thinks I'm lying, it's freaks me out. I'm just like, but I'm
yeah.
not, you know. But so I would get very like indignant and they would be like, well, you know, I was gonna get punished for something and I would start like yelling at them like why it was unjust that I was getting punished, right? And I would because I knew I was gonna get in trouble anyway, so I would just do it and I would draw it out and make it as dramatic as I could to
Ah,
you know,
that's interesting.
yeah, I was always a fighter though. I just
That's yeah. Again, that's like different from my experience where every time I was punished, it was for something that I actually did.
Yeah. It
I
was
did shoot my sister in the head with a cork gun. I did trick her into eating a white worm out of the gutter, telling her it was spaghetti.
yeah, see, I never did stuff like that. I was a
I did
good
horrible
kid.
things, and I deserved to be punished.
Yeah. I I would get in trouble for coming home late when it was something outside of my control or just like them finding a spoon under the sofa, that I did I was a little kid because it was my responsibility to do the cleaning, like the dishes and all that. And so
Yeah,
you know, it was just like stuff that did not make any sense to me. And
yeah,
I never got caught. Like when I stole, like I went through a phase of like stealing Tootsie Rolls. I never got caught. I got caught by the store guy, but he didn't tell my parents. I just worked something out with him and I paid him back with pennies because it was the Tootsie Rolls were like 3 cents a pop. And I think I stole like 10 of them. So
oh yeah,
eventually just,
yeah,
I just brought like some money back. And, yeah, I really like I shot this kid in the nuts with a slingshot with a penny. Didn't get caught for that, I'm not sure I would have gotten in trouble for that, to be
he
honest.
deserved it.
That's not something that was so like, yeah, like I didn't get in trouble for getting in fights or hurting other kids or whatever. It was always like whatever inconvenienced them was what I got. It was never about
Yeah,
my
yeah,
behavior. So it never made sense to me. And I always like pushed back because if I actually did something wrong, I would be like, all right, but
yeah.
yeah, but it was, yeah, I like my dad. I didn't live with my dad, but I would go visit and I went and stayed with him. And there were kids that lived next door, and we were playing with balloons, and we had drawn with a blue marker on the balloons, and we're hitting each other. Well, the kids had blonde hair, so their hair was blue from the marker. And so the dad next door was super pissed, and he said that like I drew the balloon to look like a penis, which was not like I did not do that. That wasn't even on my radar yet.
Right.
And actually his oldest son had been trying to diddle me. I beat the crap out of him instead. But like I was like, I'm pretty sure like that was not me, but my dad just believed the guy over me. And so I got punished for that. And then I wouldn't go see him for months. I wouldn't even take
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
called. I wouldn't, I was just like, I'm not talking to him. Fuck that guy,
yeah. I'm sure I would have done the same thing. I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I was
I'll
just like,
I'll I'll take my licks for something I did.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
I wouldn't take kindly to being accused. I don't now in
Yeah.
relationships. I've been with enough insecure women in relationships who were always accusing me of things that I'm not doing while they themselves, so the same insecurity that drives you to accuse your partner of cheating drives you to seek out validation, often by cheating.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And so they'd be accusing me of what they're doing. That's
Yep.
that's how every one of those open relationships started. It's okay, we either break up or I get to do it too.
Right. Yeah. The only time I've ever been accused of cheating, because that's within my relationships, they've always just been like, Leigh is very honest, very like, you know, was at the tail end of a situation I was trying to get out of because he wasn't very nice. And I knew that he was cheating on me because he had been saying that I was like this, like he always made a big deal about how honest I was and how trustworthy I was. And then all of a sudden I was a liar and I was cheating on him. And I was
Yep.
like, I'm like, you gotta be cheating on me. I don't actually care that
Classic
you're cheating on
projection.
me, but like, because I'm still trying to get rid of him, but like, and I was just like, okay. I, I just didn't even, I was like, whatever, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate that. I can't. Mm-mm. the only time I've ever hit someone I was in a relationship was that same guy as he called me a liar. And I was like, don't call me a liar again, I'll hit you. He did it again, I just smacked him. And then I was like,
Yeah.
that felt really good. So I did it again. I literally said that. But that was the day I finally got rid of him. He got so pissed off at me that he
Yeah.
left, and then I went and stayed at somebody's house for 3 weeks until he stopped trying to get a hold of me and couldn't find me. So,
Good. Good.
yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Thank heavens you didn't stay in that mess.
Yeah, no, that was a whole, yeah. I never, yeah. Mm-mm. That's like
Nope.
I could write a book about that experience just because of how insane it was that I even ended up in it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you do find yourself in crazy situations. You can't say that, that's how it happened,
Yeah. Yep. Let's just say there was a traumatic brain injury involved on my part. So it was almost like
Oh,
I
yeah.
woke up a year into a situation and was like, what is going on here? You
Yeah.
know? It was
Yeah.
yeah.
But better that you realize it. And, I think you're 10 years behind me, but, you're mature enough to like be like, I'd rather be alone and than be in a situation like that
Yeah.
than be in a shitty relationship. I'd rather be alone. And
Well,
that's
that
me
was
too.
yeah, well, so I was single before that person and I wanted to be single. Like I had like year 3 of being very happy with my son and riding my motorcycle, and I was had a good job and I was just doing shit. And before I hit my head, he was like interested in me, and I was like, no, uh-uh. Like I'm not you
Yeah.
not even remotely attractive, sir. And but he was like I was mentoring him on the motorcycles, so it was like teaching him stuff. And then I low-sided my bike and hit my head real hard. And then like a year later, we're like living in the same apartment complex, not in the same apartment, but same apartment
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I get here? Kind of like talking heads, right? And
Yep. Yep.
and so I moved. And then he wouldn't leave my apartment. Like he didn't move with me. He wouldn't leave my apartment. And then he just slowly moved it. He didn't have keys. He just wouldn't leave because I think he sensed that I was trying to get away. And so I just kept doing that. I was like, oh, my lease is up, I'm moving. And then I finally just got a landlord to put into the thing that only me and my son could be in the place. And he
Yeah.
tried to force his way in there. And that's when it escalated to like a physical, a physical shaming of sorts to get him to just go the fuck away. And, that was it. I
Yeah.
was like, okay,
Yeah.
bye. And I've been blocking his username on everything ever since.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to block anybody. I mean, I block scammers occasionally. Usually I
But
mess with them first.
yeah, he did. He like hacked my stuff when we were together so that he could use what I put in my journal and stuff against me and like conversations with my friends and stuff like that. So it was, I,
Yeah, I don't get that.
yeah, me either. I don't, it's just not my nature, like to be like that. You can put a journal in the room with me and I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not even going to care about it. You can put a present for me in a paper bag in the room with me and I'm going to forget that it's there because I'm not allowed to have it until you give it to me. And my brain will just be like, okay.
Huh. And I might be curious, but I would never let on that I know.
Yeah.
If I came across information that I shouldn't have, I'm going to act like I don't have it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If for some reason I saw something, like I would not open it because it's not mine to open. But
Yeah,
if for some reason it was just sitting out and I said, because if I see a page, I'm going to see the page. The information's already in my brain, right? I
right,
like if I see
right,
somebody's screen, I already know what's on the screen. I don't have to read it. So,
right.
um, yeah, in that case, then absolutely I would just respect the privacy because you know,
Yep.
but I would never go out of my way to get the information. It's just not, I want the information when someone wants to give it to me. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's my integrity. I have to live with myself. So if I sneak around and take from people, even if it's not particularly harmful, I'm always going to know that I did that and I have to live with that and it's going to bother me.
Okay.
It's going to
Yeah.
make me
Yeah.
feel degraded, right? And
Nah.
yeah, so that's why when I say my integrity is really important to me, it's not even about, even though external perceptions are important to me, it's ultimately about answering to myself. So
How late are we here? It's
it's
almost 1 in the morning.
yes, 1 in the morning. God damn.
Who is texting me at this hour? I
It
mean,
wants me.
one of my old man friends is at work, but
Oh, there's one more thing I was going to do for the Patreon, but to be honest, how mixed up all the page because normally I do it as a segment. I'm not. I'm just going to leave it in, and then people will get a taste of what I normally do for my Patreon, my
oh,
patrons.
okay.
And but I have one more thing.
Let's go.
I got I got this game called I Wish I Don't Know or Wish I Didn't Know. And we're not gonna play the game. I'm just gonna pull a random card out that hasn't been read before, and you're gonna try to guess the right answer.
Okay.
Okay. It's random. All right. Indonesians consider this a delicacy. A, live octopus. B, excrement coffee. C, snake wine. D, pickled bird brain.
Okay. My third wife was Asian, and they eat a lot of different things. I'm not gonna lie. um,
They are better about using more of the animal than we are.
yeah, I would almost I want to say every one of those things is a delicacy in some Asian country.
Right.
Which one is Indonesia? Um, I'm trying to think. I know that they run coffee beans through a cat somewhere, but I thought that was in South America. I'm going to go with the live octopus.
Is
Like
actually the coffee,
sushi, but like extreme sushi.
right? Is actually the coffee, the poop coffee.
Oh, the poop coffee. So they're the ones that run the beans through the cat and then ground it up
Yeah, I
and
was
pay exorbitant amounts of money for this coffee. Yeah, I
yeah.
have no desire to try that. And I eat almost anything, you know. Um, I do a lot of Cajun and Creole cooking and yeah, frog legs, alligator. I'll eat anything like that. But
I
yeah, I have no
haven't
desire to try coffee that was roasted from beans that have been run through a cat.
right. I would try like frog legs or alligator if I had the chance. I've had moose and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I would try most meats, but I would not do anything that's alive or moves when I put it in my mouth. And I wouldn't eat octopus at all. Like the texture would be like a no-go for me.
It's chewy. It's
Plus
definitely chewy.
I like
Squid and
them.
octopus.
Their squids and octopus are cool. I don't want to eat them. I mean, I think most animals are cool, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's the texture.
It's a different texture. I'm not gonna mince
Yeah.
words there.
I texture's kind of everything for me. Like yeah, I love like I just recently started to like coleslaw, which is very new for me. And it's because I discovered that you can have coleslaw where the sauce isn't too creamy because I don't like creamy sauces
Oh
because of the
yeah, that
texture. Um,
I make my own sauce for coleslaw, and it's more like a vinaigrette.
Yeah, and it's better that way. And then but it's so crunchy. Like when the cabbage is like fresh and stuff, it's so
Uh-huh.
crunchy. I have like a happy dance I do when I eat crunchy food. And so I discovered that coleslaw can be a happy food for me if it's
There you
made
go.
well. Yeah.
I buy those bag salads to take to work with me and put it in a Tupperware,
Yeah,
and I always look for the ones that are heavy on the cabbage. One, because I like the crunchy cabbage, and two, because they last longer than lettuce.
it's true.
I
It's
can
true.
buy it on Sunday and it's still good on Thursday.
Yep. I went through a phase of eating those a lot, but I always add a can of beans to the bag, and I would split it. Sometimes I add hard boiled eggs too, but like and then I split it so it's like dinner one night and then dinner the next. But
Yeah.
ever since I got my gallbladder, I've been having a hard time with salad. So
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's I can eat it just not in the that amount, and so I can't get through
Right.
the bags the way that I used to. So.
And I definitely like salad as a meal.
Yeah, yeah, I got that's why I helped my housemate lose weight and because he doesn't like to cook and was I was like, dude, just get these bag salads and throw beans and shit in there. It takes you 2 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
it's reasonably healthy and since you're getting older, it'll help you poop. Like
Yeah. It'll stop you from getting diabetes.
right? Yeah, so yeah, because I helped him lose like 60 pounds.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so he had like the fatty liver and high blood pressure and all that stuff's like normal again. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was getting all those weird numbers and I dropped, about 30 pounds. And I've recently gained 10 back and I need to head back the other way. So I'm being like really tracking my meals and my calories and making sure that I'm not eating too much and not eating all the bad things.
yeah, that's good. It's good that you're aware of it. It is unfortunate that men in my age group and a little younger and beyond age tend to not be and tend to seem to be almost like they feel entitled not to be aware of it to the
Yeah.
point that they can have a heart attack and then refuse to change their diet. And I'm like, that's
And
gross.
that's my one friend, he ate himself to where he's at now
Yeah.
by just refusing to, ignoring his doctor's warnings and just refusing to stop eating like a 22-year-old.
Yep. And I can't, as somebody who has chronic health issues, I can't do that. I can't have somebody in my life that is willfully self-destructive and
Right.
and takes their health for granted because like I work so hard to be healthy that like I don't want that. Not only that, but like, generalizing a fair amount of men are not very good at taking care of their own health. So when they start to have issues, who takes care of it?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
I raised the kid.
Yeah. It's not your job.
Exactly. So I can't, that's part of why I just was like, I can't figure out dating because I can't figure out how to navigate men in an appropriate age because I don't see me enjoying somebody my son's age. It just, not
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just, I was
That,
like, I don't, I'm
and that,
perfectly happy just doing what I'm doing and having friends and taking care of myself.
yeah. If you can be happy like that, that's great.
Yeah.
Um, I have to say that I miss like being touched
Yeah. I
and
That's the thing. It's so healthy to have physical contact because of the chemicals it releases in our bodies is literally supports our
yeah,
health. And that was like when my last relationship ended, that was something I noticed over time that my health, because like my health got better when I got involved and then it got worse after.
right.
And
Yeah,
but I'm not willing to give up my energy just for that part,
right,
you know?
right. And I'm not going to give up my sanity and like my whole life, everything that I do to have that touch.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
Like
what? I can drive 4 hours to Nevada and pay for it.
I mean I guess I could probably do that too, but I don't think I can afford it. But but I have heard
Oh, I'd have to
there
save
are
up for 6 months,
yeah,
but
there are like dude ranches or I don't know what they're called where they have the, you know. I mean I could go with ladies too, it doesn't matter. I'm not picky, but Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So,
yeah.
but but yeah, we're I suppose, Lee, that we are exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. Because where else would you be?
We're both doing what we want to do, and we've somehow connected with each other, even though, like, I don't know, even 5 years ago, did we know each other?
No. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
The
And
clowning is how we connected. And I started
yeah,
clowning like a
yeah.
little over 2 years ago, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
Oh, I'm doing
Yeah.
a collab. I'm doing a collab with the clown girls on Instagram. There's like a group doing a collab for Halloween.
Oh,
So
great.
we're all like I've already figured out what my costume is going to be and stuff. So it'll be I haven't clowned since Halloween of 2023.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be
Wow.
my first time coming back, and I'm just gonna make it happen no matter what the fuck is going on in my life. So
Make it happen.
that's right. So
No,
it'll
that
be
sounds great.
it'll be good.
And my seventh season will start on Halloween night. I always take Halloween off, so I was worried about Charlie before. Last year, he didn't even go trick or treating. He just stayed upstairs and played video games.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I just sat downstairs, and then at 11 o'clock, I uploaded my first show of the season.
So when your son would go trick or treating, what did you do with the candy after?
Um, he would eat it, uh, some of it. He's very picky eater. He mostly eats meat, chicken, pork chops, steak, any kind of chicken, fried chicken, rotisserie chicken, doesn't matter, chicken
Yeah.
wings. Um, so he would eat some of the candy and the rest of it just sat here. He didn't really care. And so I don't think it was a huge deal for him to not go trick or treating because he doesn't really care that much about candy.
Yeah, so for me, trick or treating wasn't about eating the candy. It was about getting as much of it as I could so that I could organize it to see how much of each type I got.
Wow.
And I would
Okay,
uh,
yeah, that's something more like I would do.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and
I
I
got to
was
lay
like,
it all out before I eat it.
yeah, and my parents would want to take stuff, and I'd be like, I have to count it first.
Yeah,
And then they could take
I'm
whatever because I didn't my favorite candies were like the Smarties and stuff like that. I discovered that I'm a chocolate snob and I was born that way. So I never liked the chocolate candies because they all tasted like chemicals. But once I had
yeah,
good chocolate, I was like, I like it.
yeah.
So I can't eat
And
Hershey's or any of that crap.
I knew what my favorites were, and I always ate the stuff I
You
always
didn't
ate
like
the stuff I didn't like first
first, yeah.
and saved the best stuff for last.
Yeah. So I do that within the things that I like. Even on my dinner plate, I eat things I don't like as much first and then, but there's just all the candies I didn't like. My parents, they took all of that. But I was like, so there wasn't and
Wait,
it's just not a lot. But my
are you
even
telling me that you're a compartmental eater too?
mm, they can touch a little. Well, okay, some foods are
Yeah, I
supposed to
can touch.
touch, right? Like mashed potatoes and meats. I like to put them together, but I put them together. They can't be together beforehand. But yeah, but I do eat everything one at a time. And I
Yep.
start with the thing I don't like as much, and then I work my
That's
way.
my OCD, and it I think mine actually grew from TV dinners, the old Swanson TV dinners.
Yeah.
Like they cooled at different rates, so you could eat the vegetables first, and then you could eat the mashed potatoes, and then you could eat the meat dish.
And then the dessert would still be lava.
Yeah, yeah. And so I still do that. I eat all of one thing, and then all of the next thing, and then all of the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, and then when I have candy, like if I don't eat candy a lot and I tend to not eat very much at one time, but like when I get say like a bag of M&Ms, I like to organize it by color first. And then I'll eat like say I have five blue and then I have like four of all the other. I'll eat that fifth one first to keep it even and then I go around. So, But
Yeah, I do the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I got them all
for me
sorted
it's
by
not,
colors.
yeah, for me it's not an OCD thing, it's an autism thing. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's OCD. My, which wife was it? My first wife could point out to me where I was going to bite on my sandwich next. She knew where I was going to bite on my sandwich next.
Well, you do know that autism is genetic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So,
And I think there's some in Bo's mama's family.
yeah.
The ADHD, definitely, absolutely. She has it. Her dad has it. Like it goes back.
Yeah. Well, they tend to, I mean, I think it's something like over 70% of autistic people have ADHD, so there's a very high overlap
Right.
percentage. Yeah. So, but yeah, but that's still, they're still kind of, that's like pretty new that they've started to figure that out. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I know with my son, my ex-in-laws, my ex-mother-in-law, definitely autistic, big time. I mean, she went
Oh,
to
yeah.
college to be an entomologist in the 50s, you know?
Wow.
And then his paternal grandfather was very likely ADHD just based on, I mean, he was still going and had tons of hobbies and shit when he was like in his 70s. So he's just, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and then the uncle on the paternal side is also autistic, very much so, trains and history and all that stuff. And then my family is like my mom's ADHD. Whether or not she wants to acknowledge that or not doesn't matter. The doom piles, the emotional dysregulation, and the she had infinity hobbies and she was good at all of them, but she never kept any of them, right?
Right.
And then my biological father's he's autistic, like he's not diagnosed, and I would never talk to him about it because, it's not something there's yeah, the older people tend not to have the best associations with mental things. So it's just better.
Yeah.
But dude like didn't like go to college. He went into the army out of high school and he learned some stuff in the army and then he became a self-taught engineer that ended up working for contracting companies that did shit from like NASA and defense stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, like and he and also just communicating with him is a trip. Like, my mom was like, he was just different. He was very like, you just never really knew what was going on with him and stuff. And he and I just, we have the similarity. And then my son is just like me. We're like, we took the
Yeah.
test through
Yeah.
embracing autism, where you can go through and it'll give you like the spectrum of how your what your spectrum shape is. And his is exactly the same as mine, just takes up more of the spectrum, so we have the
Yeah.
same is really interesting. So it's just like both sides kind of fed into us being this combination of two parts being at war with each other all the time, basically.
Yeah.
Structure, chaos, structure, chaos.
Well, it definitely makes sense then that, the ADHD come down, Josie's side of the family and Charlie, yeah, didn't
Yeah.
dodge it.
Yeah.
And it's his biggest issue. He has these other issues, but every therapist is like, we really need to deal with this issue, is the main
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And it's, he may like grow into where it's not as much of an issue once he gets through puberty, but
We're hoping
hopefully,
so.
but
We're hoping so. Um, Josie didn't get diagnosed until she was in her 30s. And so she's probably going to have to take medication the rest of her life.
yeah.
Uh, Charlie could grow out of it. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the ADHD never really goes away, but it can be easier to manage. But
Yeah.
it yeah, that idea of like growing out of it is very like,
Well, grow into controlling it on his own, I guess, is more
yeah.
accurate to say.
Yeah, I guess it just depends because the part of the mechanism of ADHD, the impact has to do with the fact that the dopamine receptors aren't getting the dopamine. and that's not something he can control, right? So he could learn to manage and work with the issue and not get the dopamine. But then what is the ramification of living your life forcing yourself to function with this deficit, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's kind of the like, because a lot of times the way that we look at ADHD and autism stuff is about how it impacts the people around us, not how it's impacting us. And
Right.
so it's like, oh, well, okay, you've learned how to be on time, you've started completing this, therefore you're managing it better. But how much is that shredding the person doing all of that work? So
Right.
um I think like, and I'm hoping that with the more information that's out there now and the better understanding of how ADHD works and stuff, that when people are being taught how to manage it, that they can be taught how to manage it in a way where there's no shame in utilizing tools to do that,
Right.
but there's also the chemistry part of it that there isn't a lot of science around it. Where we know that not having dopamine is bad and that it does have impacts on stuff, but we don't really understand like the greater impact on like health and stuff. Like I've read a few papers that have suggested that dopamine plays a role in helping mast cells stabilize and stuff, but it's not something that they fully understand at this point, right? So
Right.
then so then at some point in the future, we may better understand that and be like, okay, well, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe there'll be even better meds for it that, don't have the stigma attached because we'll have a better understanding of these systems. But
Right.
I really think that like, managing it is also making sure people get the dopamine that they need in whatever way helps them get that, you know. And I think that a lot of ADHD people have been pressured away from that particular tool, and then it just shreds them. It shreds their mental health and their physical health. And, I
Yeah.
think that there's a
Yeah.
lot of like women that they reached like my age who never got the diagnosis, just fucking like raw dogged it basically, not
Yeah.
knowing they needed the help. And then all of a
Right.
sudden it's like, I can't do it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it's all I think it's very exciting all the stuff that we're learning about that and that there's more openness to the idea that it's this lifelong thing that we need to navigate and that it's not just about making it easy on everyone else. How is
Right.
it
Right.
benefiting the person with ADHD to do
Yeah.
those things?
I definitely want my son to be treated for his own sake,
Yeah.
not my sake.
Yeah. It's bonkers to me, like thinking about that like the clinical definition of like autism includes basically the impact on the people around them, not them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. That's why people don't like the high functioning term is
And that's,
because, high functioning suggests you're not bothering anybody.
yeah. Yeah.
But what's the cost to the autistic person that they have made themselves not bothersome, And it's
Yeah. I often wonder about that with my boy.
yeah.
Just what's he thinking? And of course, being a teenager, he's not real willing to share.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my room, Dad.
Yep. I know.
So yeah, that's all the typical teenage stuff on top of what he was already carrying.
Yeah. You just keep talking to him. It goes in. He'll
Oh yeah, I just make sure that he knows that he can tell me whatever.
yeah. I think my son went through his phase of I love you, but I don't like you very much in terms of like because it was about a year and a half where I just didn't like him very much. I was like, I love
Yeah,
you, but God, you're big kind
yeah,
of annoying, But I was glad it was short, but he's never been very like talkative in the moment. So I never knew what was going on with him. even like fun stuff, he would never share it. And it was always later. It'd be like 6 weeks or
Yeah,
6 months
yeah,
later, he'd come back and be like, "Oh, I did this thing." And I'd be like, "Huh?" Like,
yeah.
you
And
know?
Charlie's kind of opening up a little bit here. So he was in an accident. He had an accident and got hurt. Uh, nothing's permanently damaged, but basically he slipped on the wooden floor in his socks and just ate it on his face and bit his lip, and his teeth were loose and his gums were bleeding.
Yeah.
And since then, he has been a lot more. I think it made him realize that he needs us,
Hmm.
and he's been a lot less hostile towards us.
Huh.
Um, just because we took care of him through that. I took him to the doctor. His mom met us there. She ended up having to take him to the ER after I went to work and
Hmm.
scan his brain to make sure that it was just his mouth bleeding and not his brain.
Right.
And it seems to have changed him a little bit. I don't know if that will last, but it's actually been kind of nice.
Hmm.
He and I are going to go out of town this weekend and spend some time together instead of him just being up there in his room telling me to get out of his room.
That's nice. Oh
So
man. I I tried so hard to get my son to go out and do stuff, and he was such an old man about it. He never wanted to go out. He just even but he's
yeah,
still as an adult, he's still like that. His wife gets him to go out and do stuff, but it's not a lot. Like they were gonna go to a party yesterday because she wanted to go because her friend was having the party, and he was like, "No, okay, but then they ended up not going.
yeah, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
fight I fight.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I hope it sticks. That would be kind of nice, right? Like you just,
Yeah, yeah. It would end up being a blessing in disguise that he ate shit and hit his face on the floor.
yeah. I'm assuming his teeth are going to be okay. They just it like needs to heal or,
Yeah, they're solid again. I'll probably still take him to the dentist and get him checked out to make sure
yeah.
everything's structurally sound. But they did MRI or CT scan, I don't know what kind of scan on his whole head,
Yeah.
but the doctor knows that one of his teeth was loose and he was definitely bleeding from his gums right after. And he
Hmm.
bit here and had some. And but now 3 days later, it doesn't look any different than like the beginnings of a cold sore, or like when your lips get chapped and you kind of peel it and
Yeah.
you go a little bit too deep.
Yeah. Dude, mouths are they heal so fast. It's always
Yeah, yeah,
surprising.
yeah. But man, his lips swelled up. I'm like, man, white girls will pay to like have that done to their lips.
Yeah.
And yeah, he thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Maybe he needs some grippy socks.
Yeah,
I had gotten to the point that because I don't like wearing shoes, and but sometimes just like socks are better. But like I can't, with the wood floors and stuff, I have to have the grippy things because
yeah. I told him that you either take it all off so you're barefoot and have the grip, or we're going to get you some slippers.
yeah,
When it gets cold and I can't walk around barefoot, you know, I'm sitting in my chair in socks, but I have slippers for walking around on the wood floor that have, grippy soles.
yeah. I just have I have a collection of winter socks that have the grip on the bottom because
Yeah,
I don't like I don't like wearing anything that feels like shoes in the house. So.
it's probably not appropriate, but I've always referred to those as psych ward socks.
Yeah. Yeah. They're vacation socks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone I know that's gone on a grippy sock vacation, they all have the same kind of like, but
Yep.
the ones I have don't look like that. So yeah.
Yeah, they're always blue with the little yellow gripper.
Yeah, the hospital ones hurt my feet. The grippy things when you walk on them,
Oh,
they're like too something. I don't know. Too
too much.
firm? Too much,
Yeah.
yeah. I had a heart procedure and I was in the hospital for like 2 days and I was like, these hurt my feet.
Yep.
Yep. But I guess this should probably wrap up and just try and get ready for bed at some point.
Yeah, I'm gonna be up a little while longer, but Charlie's mama is texting me, so I gotta find out what's wrong.
Yeah. Go do go do the family stuff.
Yep.
Yep. Well, thank you for making time to hang out
Been a
and
pleasure
talk and
talking to you. I always enjoy talking to you.
yeah. I'm glad we did it. I feel like I have been just kind of distracted, so I haven't been working on my podcast enough. So it's like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing and yay, I did it. And it helps me feel more in sync with it again. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
We've accomplished something,
Exactly. And we did a thing. Woohoo.
and
You
I
don't need to go to
announced what
work.
happened to Harold.
Cool.
All right.
Well, have
Well,
a good rest of your day. Hope everything's okay with the texting and have fun at work when you get there.
oh yeah. Yeah. 2 more nights, and then I'm off for 5 days. So that'll be nice.
Oh, yeah, 5 days. And I guess I'll do the sign out. All right, everybody, thank you for hanging out with me and Murph the Clown. I will put links in the episodes so you can find his reviews of a whole bunch of different movies because you should watch. And they are funny, sometimes weird. Some of those movies you watch are weird, man. And
That's fair.
yeah, and
That's fair.
and see you guys next week or something. Thank you for hanging out and listening. A huge thank you to my patrons. I could not do this without you. Want to support my creative chaos and get access to exclusive content? Check out my Patreon. Have questions and or interested in joining me for a conversation? Email me.